Good morning, everyone. Today we will be discussing the risks of working at height. We'll be exploring the potential hazards involved with this type of work, as well as their possible causes. So let's get started and take a look at the first slide. Falls from height are the leading cause of accidents in the construction industry, accounting for 56% of all incidents reported. Working at height is a task that is frequently present at construction sites, yet competence in this area is usually lacking. In addition, laxity and neglect are the largest contributors to these incidents. It is vital for the well-being of those involved to be aware of the potential dangers, the related processes and the required safety measures. Falling is defined as a movement where somebody or something drops from one level to another. When objects fall which have a greater mass, such as a spanner, they can potentially cause serious injuries when not properly controlled to prevent the fall from happening. A fall hazard holds the potential to cause an injury from falling and must be identified and removed to keep workers and everyone else in the workplace safe. Fall hazards can exist in any environment and take various forms. These may involve falling from heights, slipping, tripping, objects falling, fragile surfaces and inadequate edge protection. It is important to be alert to any potential dangers that may arise from these and to take action to reduce their risks. Taking a proactive approach to safety, for instance offering suitable ladders, supplying edge protection and providing training can assist in prevention of incidents caused by fall hazards leading to harm. Awareness is essential when it comes to construction sites. Fall hazards are omnipresent and can range from building structures to exterior construction areas, scaffolds, stairs, and ladders. To mitigate the risk of injury from these potential fall hazards, it is critical that workers adhere to safety protocols when working at heights. Falls from heights are one of the most common causes of workplace injury. Situations that can pose a fall hazard include when a worker is in or on a plant or structure that is at an elevated level, like a covered walkway. In or on a plant that is being used to gain access to an elevated level, like a ladder. Near an opening through which one could fall, like an open pit. And near an edge over which one could fall, like standing near the edge of a roof or standing under scaffolding. It's important to take note of warning signs, such as those for open pits, and always be aware of your surroundings to prevent a fall-related accident. A fragile roof or skylight is one of the most common risks of working at height. Many workers are unaware of the dangers posed by working on or near them, as these surfaces are often slippery, sloping, or unstable. All workers must use caution when working on or near fragile roofs or skylights, as they can be a major source of injury or even death. The risks of working at height are very real, with serious potential consequences. While the main falling hazards are usually due to either the fall of a person or the fall of an object, there are numerous factors that can contribute to this. Poor edge protection or improperly secured material storage can contribute to these hazards. There are many jobs that leave workers vulnerable to these falls hazards, such as painters, decorators, window cleaners, and those performing one-off jobs without proper training, planning or equipment. It is essential that all workers are aware of the risks and receive the proper training and protection to help avoid dangerous situations. It is essential to assess the risks associated with working at height before any work is undertaken. This assessment should identify the measures needed to prevent people from falling from a height. Although there are several steps to consider when performing a risk assessment, the most important elements are to identify the potential hazards at height, assess the risks associated with these hazards, and determine the necessary control measures to be taken to prevent any injury. Assessing risks from working at height requires detailed work and activity assessments, evaluation of hazards, identification of who may be exposed, consideration of how many persons are involved, implementation of control measures, and analysis of risk levels and taking steps to minimize risk. This information must be weighed carefully before coming to a decision on whether the work should continue or be stopped. Construction sites may be full of hazards that could cause falls. Such dangers include material not being properly stacked and secured, lacking edge protection, not having suitable entry, uncertain structures or supports, foundations not set on solid ground, inappropriate fall protection, improper material handling and workstation circumstances, tripping, slipping and striking, lack of or poor quality of resources, and overlooking of designers' instructions. In addition, the manpower selection and training as well as education levels can play a part in these dangers. Scaffolds can be a vital part of many construction projects, but they can also be a frequent source of hazards. Potential risks can range from getting hit by falling tools or debris, electrocution, collapse, or weakness in wooden boards and inadequate board overlap, to uneven ground, unsafe access to the scaffold, inadequate joinery, insufficient foundations, bridging of scaffolds, high winds and slippery surfaces due to rain. Electrical, fall and falling object hazards, as well as a lack of guardrails on scaffolds, must also be taken into account. It is essential to use proper safety equipment, training, and procedures to decrease the chance of these hazards and protect workers. Personal fall protection must be considered if an individual is at risk of falling from a certain height in order to ensure safety. This could consist of guardrails, travel restraint systems, fall restricting systems, fall arrest systems, or safety nets, all of which serve to prevent serious injury or death from occurring. A restraint system is an effective way to protect workers from falls from a height by keeping them securely attached to a working surface. The system allows the worker to travel only as far as the edge, without risking a fall. By providing a safe environment, this system is a key tool in protecting workers who are working at heights. A travel restraint system is a vital safety system when working at height. It comprises of an approved full-body harness, a lanyard, a lifeline, and a rope grab to attach the harness or lanyard to the lifeline. Additionally, an adequate anchorage is necessary to safely support a static load of 15 kilonewtons with a safety factor of 2 or more. It is important to ensure lifelines are in proper condition when using them. There are three main types of lifelines: vertical, horizontal and retractable. Daily inspections should be conducted to look for signs of damages such as cuts, burns, frayed strands, abrasions, discoloration and brittleness from heat or chemical exposure, in order to make sure they remain safe to use and undamaged. When using vertical lifelines, it is important to adhere to the current applicable standard and minimum requirements. One person at a time must use a vertical lifeline and it must reach the ground or a level above ground where the worker can safely exit. Additionally, a vertical lifeline must have a positive stop to prevent the rope grab from running off the end of the lifeline. This will help ensure workers' safety while working at heights. A lifeline is an important safety feature for working at heights and is used to help keep workers secure. One type of lifeline is a vertical lifeline, which is a vertical rope that is connected to the worker's harness and anchored at the top of the structure. This type of lifeline helps to support and secure the worker, preventing them from falling. It is important that the lifeline is kept free of entanglements and properly installed, as it is the primary safety feature. Horizontal lifelines are safety systems created by a professional engineer to decrease the risks of working at elevated heights. They need to be constructed in accordance with proper engineering methods, either through a standard design or a structure tailored to the specific needs of the environment. Meeting these requirements can help lower the likelihood of an accidental incident occurring. Lifelines are a vital component of any work undertaken at a height. Horizontal lifelines provide a secure attachment point, enabling personnel to ensure their safety when ascending to a higher surface. Such lifelines are often used with other forms of safety equipment to reduce the risk of falls. It is essential that all lifelines are first tested and safely affixed before use. Retractable lifelines are an important addition to any fall prevention system. They are usually designed so that the anchor point is above the worker, allowing a greater area of protection. Retractable lifelines employ a locking mechanism that allows the line to safely unwind from the drum when the worker's normal movements cause the line to become slightly taut. As soon as tension is released, the line automatically retracts, eliminating any slack. In the event of a quick movement, such as a fall, the line locks up, reducing the fall distance and the force of the arrest. Fragile surfaces can pose a significant risk to personnel working at height, including skylights, weakened roof structures, and old plaster ceilings. To prevent falls and injuries, personnel must be made aware of the potential danger and supplied with appropriate safety equipment. Scaffold accidents are a major issue in construction areas, with numerous cases each year resulting in injury and even fatalities. Falls from height represent over half of these accidents and can have very serious consequences, making scaffold accidents a key safety problem in the construction industry. Employers and workers should take proactive measures to protect themselves and others from potential risks. Safety must be of utmost priority when working with scaffolds. Erecting and dismantling must be done safely, and caution must be taken when climbing up and down them. Scaffold planks should not slide or break, and should not be overloaded. Platforms should always be decked and guarded, all required components should be installed securely, and the safety of overhead electrical wires must be taken into consideration when moving rolling scaffolds. If any of these safety steps are not taken, it can lead to falls and injuries. Scaffolding is a common tool used to help workers work at height safely. There are several types of scaffolds, such as standard tubular frame, standard walk-through frame, rolling, fold-up frame, tube and clamp, systems, mast climbing work platforms, and crank-up or tower. When using scaffolds, it is essential to be aware of the type you are using and to follow all safety instructions. Rolling scaffolds provide an ideal solution when needing to do a short-term job at multiple locations, and are typically used by mechanical and electrical trades. There are two main types of rolling scaffolds: caster type and farm wagon type. The caster type has wheels attached to a frame, while the farm wagon type features two pneumatic wheels on one end and two casters on the other. Both are convenient for moving to different spots to work, but the farm wagon type has the capacity for heavier loads. Construction companies must ensure that risks of accidents at height are minimized. Prevention should be done by adequate planning, conducting regular risk assessment and following industry guidelines. Appropriate safety equipment should be provided to workers and supervisors, and height safety professionals should be employed. In addition, setting ground rules for safely working at height is essential. By following these strategies, work can be carried out in a safe manner and minimize the likelihood of accidents. Safety systems to prevent falls from heights must have Hizerl-Brading caster-type BA, Caxer wipe, with brake, and AMLSWHE, KRK as essential components. When combined, they offer protection from slips, trips, falling objects, fragile surfaces, edge protection, ladders, and working on or near fragile surfaces. To ensure the system remains effective in preventing workplace falls, it is important to inspect, maintain, and replace the components regularly. To use farm wagons or other devices with pneumatic tires safely and effectively for installing sheet metal siding and similar materials on industrial buildings, the area around the building should be well prepared, relatively smooth and level. Outrigger beams with leveling devices should be used, with a recommended 3:1 height-to-width ratio and a maximum height of 7.5 meters, 25 feet. Workers should only be on the scaffold when it is resting on the outriggers, and should never be on it while it is on rubber. Fold-up scaffold frames are an ideal solution for workers needing to access hard-to-reach areas. These frames are lightweight and easily portable, allowing workers such as electricians, painters, and suspended ceiling erectors to do their work quickly and safely. Available in varying widths, from 30 inches to 5 feet, fold-up scaffold frames are mostly constructed from aluminum. For the safest possible experience when using a fold-up scaffold frame, work should only be done on a smooth, hard surface. Scaffold frames that fold up are a common feature of worksites where working at height is necessary. It is important to inspect these frames for visible damage and wear before and after use. If any damage or wear is noticed, the frame must not be used. Additionally, users should always adhere to the manufacturer's instructions when using these frames, in order to minimize any potential hazards to both workers and those in the vicinity. Adjustable scaffolds are light and easy to transport and adjust for height, making them suitable for similar purposes as fold-up scaffolds, although more effort is required for erection. It is important to note that these are not designed to handle heavy loads, and should only be applied on hard, smooth surfaces. Adjustable scaffolds are a key component to ensure safe access to work areas at higher altitudes. Their platform height can be adjusted and guardrails can be installed to secure the user. Proper training in the use of adjustable scaffolds and adherence to safety measures is essential. Scaffolding on a non-rectangular structure can be erected using a tube and clamp scaffold, which is infinitely adjustable and can handle irregular and circular vertical configurations, as well as obstructed areas. However, for scaffolding higher than 10 meters, a certified engineer must design it to ensure it is safe and stable. Accidental slips, trips and falls are one of the most common causes of injury in the workplace. In order to reduce the risk of these accidents, it is important to take the necessary safety precautions, such as maintaining a tidy work environment, using proper footwear, and making sure that ladders are placed on firm, level surfaces. Additionally, it is essential to use appropriate edge protection, guardrails, and other protective measures when working on or near fragile surfaces. By taking these necessary precautions, we can create a safer work environment and limit the risk of accidents occurring. Mast climbing work platforms are suitable for medium to high-rise projects due to their stability and fast access for drywallers, window installers, siding installers, and other trades. For low to medium height projects, these platforms come as freestanding, but for higher projects, they require ties to the structure at defined intervals as instructed. Scaffolds of the crank-up or tower variety are important pieces of equipment at construction sites. They consist of towers, bases, and platforms which can be raised using a winch. In between the working platform and the material platform lies a space of 600 to 900 millimeters, 2 to 3 feet. This height is ergonomically suited for the worker, allowing them to work in a relaxed manner. It is critical that crews are taught how to properly assemble, use, and dismantle the scaffolding in a way that is both safe and effective. Scaffolds of the crank-up or tower type are an important component in any construction project. To ensure the safety of personnel, these scaffolds must be securely tied to the structure they are being used on, in order to avoid uncontrolled movements or collapse, as well as falling objects which may cause further damage or injury. It is essential that the manufacturer's instructions are closely followed and that the workers understand their meaning when it comes to assembling and using the scaffolds. Frame-only system. Guardrails, mid-rails, and toeboards, ladder access and access ladders. A typical tubular frame scaffold includes components such as end frames, base plates or casters, mudsills, adjustable screw jacks, vertical braces, guardrails, mid-rails, toe boards, ladder access, and access ladders. The components are based on the type of scaffolding being used in the manufacturer's instructions. Some components are necessary in almost all situations while others are optional. Identifying the roles of frame scaffold components is essential in scaffold construction. To ensure proper safety and usage, the components should be chosen carefully to make sure they are fit for the job requirement, can support the weight of the load, and are compatible with the other components used. When the components have been installed, inspection is required to ensure they are in good condition and ready for use. Make sure to follow the manufacturer's instructions on assembly and check for secure connections. Scaffolds made of tubes and clamps are highly versatile and can be used for a wide range of projects. The frames are constructed with tubes and connectors, which are then covered with aluminum or plywood platforms of 8 or 16 feet length. When installing these planks, it is important to provide sufficient overhang for safe working conditions. Risks associated with working at heights can be reduced by enabling proper working conditions and processes. For this reason, employees must be aware of the relevant health and safety regulations and procedures and comply with them at all times. It is important to keep up to date with the latest regulations and procedures in order to guarantee the safety of all those who work at heights. Scaffolds should always be used with ladder rails extending at least 900 mm, 3 feet, above the platform level. This is to prevent injuries caused by getting on and off at the platform level. Therefore, it is important to adhere to the safety measures when using scaffolding. One of the most common causes of falls from scaffold platforms is the failure to use guardrails. Many frame scaffolds come with guardrail components, including posts which can be attached directly to the connector pins of the scaffold frames. These guardrail components usually include wing nuts, which are used to attach the rails to the posts. It is essential that guardrails are installed when working from scaffold platforms in order to prevent falls. When constructing a scaffold, safety should be the main priority. As part of the scaffolding, a guardrail needs to be established. This should include a top rail, mid-rail, toe board and posts. The top rail must be at least 1 meter, 40 inches, above the platform. The mid-rail should be halfway between the top rail and the platform. The toe board should have a minimum height of 89 mm, 3-1/2 an inch, if constructed from wood, while posts should be 8 feet apart or less. Different materials may allow for different post spacing, as long as they can support the specified loads. When performing work at height, workers can be exposed to a range of potential hazards. These can include slipping, tripping or falling, potentially due to items falling from height, a fragile surface below or a lack of edge protection. Additionally, incorrect use of ladders and work carried out on or near fragile surfaces can create further danger. It is crucial that employers take all necessary steps to minimize these risks and prioritize workplace safety. To safely erect and dismantle scaffolds, inspect the materials used. Look for any damage to structural components, such as hooks on manufactured platforms, splits, knots, and dry rot in planks, delamination in laminated veneer lumber planks, and confirm all necessary components for the job are compatible. Scaffolds that have a height to least lateral dimension ratio greater than 3:1 must be attached to a building or structure. For tubular frame scaffolds, tie-ins should be placed every third frame vertically and every second frame horizontally. For tube and clamp scaffolds, tie-ins should be placed at every second node vertically and every third standard horizontally. These tie-ins must be able to support and withstand both tension and compression forces to keep the scaffold stable. Personnel involved in the selection and use of scaffolding should be properly trained to reduce workplace accidents caused by improper use of scaffolding. Selection of the scaffolding itself is just as important as the selection of the tools, so a comprehensive training program should be implemented. For further guidance, refer to the references and manufacturer's guidelines. Employees must receive training from a qualified person to ensure they understand the potential hazards associated with electricity, falls and falling items, the correct use of a scaffold, the maximum intended load and load-carrying capabilities of the scaffold, and the procedures for setting up, dismantling or moving the system. These preventive measures can help reduce the risk of injury due to working at height. Employees should possess the knowledge and skills necessary to undertake safe work practices concerning scaffolds. If an employer has doubt about an employee's proficiency in the task, then a retraining program should be administered until they gain the understanding and expertise required. In addition, retraining ought to take place when new or additional hazards present themselves, variations occur in the type of scaffold, or new fall protection systems come into effect. Moreover, when inadequacies are seen in an employee's work, another retraining session should be conducted. Ladders are a common tool used on construction sites, however they can also be a hazard if not handled correctly. Major causes of ladder accidents include, but are not limited to, not securing the ladder, slippery surfaces, failing to grip the ladder properly, unsafe positions on the ladder, poor footing, improper angles, defective ladders, high winds, carelessly handled or improperly positioned near electrical lines, and not using ladder stabilizers where appropriate. Therefore, it is essential to take proper precautions to avoid any potential accidents or injury when working with ladders. Portable ladders are the most commonly used type of ladders. It is important to make sure that all portable ladders have non-slip feet or are set up securely in order to avoid slipping. Portable ladders come in 3 different grades: light duty, grade 3, medium duty, grade 2, and heavy duty, grade 1. In order to choose the correct grade for a job, it is important to consider the weight of the user and the materials being lifted. Wooden ladders that are job-built require good structural carpentry practices to be used during construction. The wood should be straight-grained and free of knots, sharp edges, splinters, and shakes. When building the ladder, the rungs must be straight-grained and also knot-free. To ensure maximum safety, it is essential to put the ladder on a secure footing and firmly secure it in place. Supervisors are key to reducing ladder injuries. They are responsible for training workers to use ladders properly, assessing the access requirements of a job, and choosing the best means of access. Proper training and supervision can help workers use ladders safely and effectively. Supervisors should evaluate each job situation and identify the safest and most appropriate ladder for the task. A well-trained supervisor can provide an extra layer of protection against accidents or injuries. As you use stepladders, make sure that you do not use the top or top step of the ladder as a step. It is not designed to support a weight and could lead to a fall. Additionally, make sure you do not climb the cross bracing on the rear section of stepladders unless the ladder is designed and provided with steps for climbing on both sections. This is important for your safety and can help prevent a fall. When using ladders in doorways, passageways, or driveways, it is important to secure or barricade them to prevent displacement due to workplace activities or traffic. It is also important to keep the area around the top and bottom of the ladder clear, and never move, shift, or extend ladders while they are occupied. Ladders should only be used for the purpose they were designed for and should be placed on stable and level surfaces. Necessary safety precautions should be taken while using ladders to avoid any accidents. When using step ladders, it is essential to ensure that you do not straddle or sit on top of them. Doing so will affect the ladder's stability and can cause you to lose your balance, potentially leading to injury. To prevent such an occurrence, always keep both feet on one step of the ladder. Risks associated with working at height should not be taken lightly, as they can easily lead to serious injuries if not managed in the right way. Slipping, tripping, falling objects, lack of adequate safety railings around the edge of a surface, incorrect ladder usage, and working on or near fragile surfaces are some of the common causes of these risks. It is essential that the right safety measures are taken and that everyone is aware of the potential dangers associated with working at height. Inspection and maintenance of ladders is essential to ensure their proper and safe use. Such inspections and maintenance can help increase the life expectancy of ladders and reduce the possibility of accidents. Should a ladder be found to be defective, it should be removed from service immediately and repaired by a skilled and knowledgeable person. The person responsible for taking the ladder out of service should then be the one to take away the tag when it is safe and repaired for use again. The tag should be printed with large and bold letters including the message "Danger, Do Not Use" to add emphasis and caution. Essential training on ladder safety must be given to each employee to prevent falls. Employees must be educated to recognize fall hazards in their work area, comprehend the techniques in setting up, maintaining and taking down fall protection systems, and appropriately use and station ladders in their maximum intended load. Additionally, to maintain their awareness and comprehension of ladder safety, employees must be